is up, Nerds Nation? Welcome to the Effin' Nerds podcast with the most dynamic duo in all of podcasting. I'm Nick Denizio, and sitting across from me is my guy, Martin Moreno.
What's up, bro?
How we doing?
Good.
We are recapping The Mandalorian Chapter 14, The Tragedy. But before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else, please check back each week because we try to upload new content for you guys to listen to. So Chapter 14, The Tragedy, finds the Mandalorian and Grogu traveling to the planet Tython in search of an ancient Jedi temple. So I guess we'll start with the cold opening.
Ruin. Isn't it like an ancient Jedi ruin?
I guess the ruins of a former temple.
Same shit.
Yeah, it's the same difference.
Yeah.
So the cold opening, we get this like super cute opening with Mando teasing Grogu by saying his name. He also gets Grogu to use the Force again by taking that metal ball out of his hand. And then Mando also kind of reiterates that he is going to deliver him to the Jedi. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm starting to get like this sense because like now this is 2 episodes in a row where you really get Mando like almost trying to convince himself that he's going to give up Grogu when the time comes.
100%. He was talking to himself. He was, like when he was talking out loud. First of all, I thought that scene was a little weird. The sort of dialogue in that scene and the body movement.
Yeah,
I felt like the stunt double was a little off. But yeah, when he's saying like, you have to agree to go with them, because everyone's like, I feel like he's talking to himself. Like he's talking out loud, pretty much saying like, no, you have to give the kid up. You have to let him go. You have to part ways with him when the time comes. And in a way, it was kind of foreshadowing for what happens.
It's definitely foreshadowing. Because I also feel like they build up this moment a little bit because they get like it's a nice another bonding moment between them. And obviously, the way the episode plays out, it just makes it that much more of a tragedy, I guess, when when it all
But what was the real tragedy?
What was the real tragedy? We will definitely get into that. But the other thing that I like too is that he just keeps teasing him by saying his name, and I think that's what we would all do. We would be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, little Grogu. But yeah, it was a nice moment. It was very, like we said, it was very cute, very charming. And just further establishing their connection that these two have.
Do you really think this is a stunt double the entire time? I feel like Pedro Pascal is in this suit more this season.
Well, bro, he walked off set, so he hasn't been on, he
hasn't been on for a while, apparently.
He's not there at all. He was supposed to check out after episode 3. I do think that this one was a stunt double because I feel like some of the body language was very... like on the nose, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Especially like when he's like looking around the rock, like everything just kind of felt a lot of it felt like exposition. It's like, oh, we're here. How does it work? Maybe there's a control around. Let me go check. You know. And then like the way his body was moving when he was talking to Grogu in the cockpit in the cold opening. So I do think that this was definitely a stunt double, and because there were some moments that I felt like were a little off.
Well, actually, I have a few moments throughout this whole episode that felt a little off to me, which I think we'll definitely get into.
For sure.
But all right, so let's jump into Act 1 here. So Mando and Grogu arrive on Tython, and they basically get up to like the Seeing Stone. And what I love is that obviously they can't land directly next to it, so they have to basically like jetpack up there, and
fly with it. Again, that was another moment too. It's like, oh, it's too small. Looks like I have to land down.
Looks like I have to land down. Yeah. It's like, bro, who are you talking to?
Sorry, buddy, I can't land on the top. Too small. Looks like we're gonna have to travel the last stretch with the windows down.
They make it up to like this Jedi temple ruins, and he places Grogu on the Seeing Stone. But to Mando's dismay, nothing happens. They are then interrupted by the sound of a ship entering the atmosphere. And when Mando looks up, we see what all Star Wars fans know as the Slave One. As the ship lands, Mando looks back and notices that Grogu has activated the Seeing Stone and is now meditating with the Force, and we assume is calling out to Jedi. Mando can't get Grogu as the Force surrounding him is too strong. So Mando then just goes to confront the person who is in the ship, which was revealed to be none other than Boba Fett. And then along with a very much alive Fennec way back from Chapter 5, they kind of press Mando to get him to give up the armor that he got from Cobb Vanth. But before anything happens, they're basically interrupted by the Empire. Because as we know, there's a tracking beacon on the Razor Crest. And the Empire, I guess, has located them. But we get into the scuffle. But before all that happens, I guess we'll kind of jump into the Jedi Temple part of it.
And this is something I'm still not sure of. And by that, I mean if this was shot in practical or in the volume. Because I feel like a lot of the lighting and a lot of these wide shots felt very natural.
Yes.
And for the people, did we mention that Robert Rodriguez directed this episode?
No, we haven't gone into that yet, yeah.
Right, so Robert Rodriguez directed this episode. For the 3 or 4 people who are avid listeners, they know that we were definitely looking forward to Robert Rodriguez's take on Star Wars.
Yes.
And for the people who don't know, Robert Rodriguez is a very practical director, aside from Alita.
Right.
Actually, aside from Alita and all the Spy Kids stuff, like, I mean, yes, he does have a big history with CG, but the guy also,
and like a lot of like his kids movies in general, like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but a lot of his earlier films, like the mariachi movies, the dude loves practical effects, and he does it very well. And I felt you made a great comment about this when we were discussing it a while back, of how you said that he does a lot with very little. And I felt like from the very beginning, like when we get this sort of like flyover shot of what kind of looked like Stonehenge, just it looked real. Yeah, there was something different about it, and once they land and once they're walking around, you definitely get this kind of sense of like natural lighting.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if it was shot on location or not. If it was shot on location, obviously great. We love that. And like we said, we wouldn't be surprised if it was because of Robert Rodriguez. But if this was shot in the volume, then holy shit.
I would
because
agree,
then you're pushing even more boundaries now. Yep. So we don't really know. We want to assume that it was shot on location, especially when you get those like wide shots of like Fennec running across the boulder and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So, but we're still not 100% sure. But that was the first thing that came up to me because we're so techie. Just like the lighting and how the fucking fruit fly is back, and how great everything looked. And then seeing little Grogu out there doing I thought it was gonna get memed.
I did too. Well, it still might. Where he's got his little fingers together.
I didn't really see much. I did see one person say like like when you lay the thirst trap and you're waiting for your crush to like it, and you're just there. So but yeah, that was a good moment. And then obviously when the slave one comes into frame.
Yeah, man.
I mean, we were watching it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, is it the slave? I was like, oh my god. And then how long we hold Boba comes off, and then here's where we get into more of the things that were off, like this dialogue between this whole exchange between Fennec, Mando, and Boba. I was like, what? What's going on?
It's definitely weird because like they come off and he basically like is just pressing him for the armor. And he's like, I want it. And obviously, Fennec is up on this ridge with her gun pointed at the child. Basically, like, if you don't give me what I want, we're going to kill the child. And then it's just like, as soon as he takes out, what's the whistling... the
whistling birds.
The whistling birds. Then all of a sudden, Boba's like, wait, let's put our guns down and let's talk.
I don't want no more bloodshed.
Let's talk. So yeah, it was definitely weird, like how it went from like 0 to 100, and then it went to like, let's be diplomatic and talk.
And then
about
100
this.
to 0.
And then 100 to 0. Yeah, exactly. And it's like what's going on here?
No RPMs.
Yeah.
But and that's like something that we'll get into once we kind of get into a third act, I guess, of how everything sort of plays out.
Right.
Because the second act is like one massive action sequence.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking incredible.
Yes.
But another thing was the pacing of the episode, which I don't think really helped. The episode is very fast.
Because it's a short episode.
Very fast, right. And this is something that that I kind of was talking about in episode when we were discussing episode 2, was that if we look back in hindsight of, these sort of condensed, quick episodes, we obviously don't know what's going to happen in episode 7. But like if I watch episode 7 and I feel like this could have been episode 7 and episode 6 could have been condensed into one, then that's something that we'll get to at the end of the season of like maybe these shorter episodes. Like I still think that episode 2 and episode 3 could have been one.
Right.
Could have been one really good 1 hour show. And you and I recently just jumped on the Queen's Gambit train.
Yes.
And seeing how well done that show is in this 1 hour time frame.
Right.
Because I think Mando also has like really good storytelling. So I think this really good storytelling could work in like 6 1 hour episodes rather than 8
like random.
Right.
Like sometimes it's 50 minutes, sometimes it's 40, sometimes it's 30. And
right.
It's like,
but when talking to our good buddy Josh, he made a great point of how like Star Wars is for kids.
Right.
So I'm imagining that a lot of kids are watching The Mandalorian, and obviously it's easier for a kid to sit through a 30-minute episode than it is to 40 plus whatever minutes. And at its core, for all you nerds out there, know that George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, he always said that Star Wars was meant for kids.
Right.
It was always meant for kids. So obviously Filoni being in charge, being a purist, I'm sure he's probably adapting some of that flavor into it too.
Yes.
So I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if that has a sort of play in the sort of like time mandate of the show.
Right. Well, I think that's something that you've always brought up is like you keep asking like, does this show have a time mandate? And like for me personally, I've never really had like that much of an issue with like the length of each episode, depending on like what they're trying to tell in that episode. But I would say that for this one, this is definitely one where I wish it was longer, and I wish they spent more time like on these specific like dialogue scenes, right? Because I feel like it's like we're just gonna get through this just to get to the action scene, and then we'll eventually come back to it. But it's like, like it does like there are moments in this that just feel awkward and weird and like they're rushing through it.
Yeah, and it's almost like just and it's almost like bad setup. Like the fact that Mando has to take off his jetpack, that's just only for the fact that he can fly back to save Baby Yoda.
Exactly.
Baby Grogu.
Right, Baby Grogu, yeah.
Yeah, and something about in regards to episode 5, that was a very kind of it was in its own right a very action heavy episode, but you had those moments that were very slow, that were very intimate,
right? And
those moments work so well. So if you had the kind of like slower, intimate moments when they first get up on the rock,
right? Or
when we get, I don't want to say intimate when it comes between Boba and Mando, but if like that moment was just kind of like slowed down for a second,
exactly.
And like maybe there was more there was maybe
like a little more back and forth, a little more dialogue between them,
and not just come off so hostile, and then only to like retreat back. Like it just felt a little strange. I think Boba's up to some shit. I definitely do. But yeah, that's kind of like my little recap on Act 1. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and I also like that. I think we knew that Fennec was going to come back, obviously, with what happened at the end of Chapter 5, and then revealing that Boba Fett was going to be part of the show. I think we assumed that it was Boba that did rescue her on Tatooine, and that's obviously confirmed here. She's got a little bit of robotic insides now after getting a little fembot action.
You're a fembot!
No shit, Sherlock.
Machine gun jubblies? How did I miss those, baby?
After getting a little fucked up in Chapter 5, so
it's still kind of weird. So is she part droid, or she just got some working gears?
I think she just has some working stuff going on,
Because I mean, it doesn't look like she's got a stomach.
It doesn't look like she has a stomach at all. Like she literally just takes the whole thing off. It's like, whoa, all right.
It's like
it's like, goddamn.
X-rated.
Yeah. But I like that she is back, because I saw a lot of people like disappointed that she was a one and done in Chapter 5. Obviously, I think people just assume that, but like it's cool to have her back. And then obviously the way this whole thing kind of wraps up, so she's gonna be a little bit of a part of the squad. But I think we can now kind of get into what happens into Act 2. So. When the stormtroopers like invade the ancient site, Mando takes off for Grogu, while Fennec and Boba take on the stormtroopers. We get some intense action with Fennec and especially Boba Fett, as he is knocking them around with like this like mallet like club weapon that looks like
awesome.
It looks like it'd be like in the arsenal of like the Tusken Raiders. Like that's kind of like the
definitely like something out of there, especially like the handle and like the shape of it.
Yes,
I'm sure he probably like stole it or got it from them or something.
Had to have. So he's messing around with that. Fennec then like in her kind of scuffle with the stormtroopers, she gets somewhat like cornered. Mando shows up to kind of assist her, but there's just way too many stormtroopers that are surrounding them. Then we get a fully armored Boba Fett that kind of swoops in and like lays waste to all these stormtroopers, and then even takes out like both of their like transport vehicles with one missile, which is hilarious. So I'm definitely paraphrasing, because like this act is like just full on just action.
It's just a massive action set
So
piece.
much goes on. There's so many nice little like references to movies and some of Robert Rodriguez's stuff. So let's kind of like, I guess, jump into this here. So,
well, first of all, my boy Boba comes into frame looking thick.
Yes.
Damn, boy, he's thick, boy. That's a thick ass boy.
5 C's.
He does. And you know what? I need to say something about that, because I saw some people, and leave it to fucking internet and Twitter to be fucking assholes, saying that, I don't like that Boba Fett's kind of fat and blah blah blah. Look, Martin, what season are we in right now?
Bulking season.
We're in bulking season.
Well,
Martin.
for me, it's like Nick obviously is like the gym dude. I'm like bulking season for me is like all year round. So, for
Carb Newton,
Carb Newton, baby, hell yes.
I like pizza. I like bagels.
Hell yes.
But it's bulking season, and my man Boba is a fucking tank in this episode.
I loved it.
And I love it, dude.
Yeah,
it's like, so awesome.
We were joking about how like when Mr. Incredibles first goes back into action.
Yes.
Or like in Pacific Rim when
puts the suit on.
He's like, it's a little tight.
It's a little tight.
Like, yeah, my guy's been out of business for a while. Like let him be. But I absolutely loved it. I thought he looked great. I thought I loved the kind of because the costume in its way it's kind of changed now, because we have this sort of like black gown underneath the costume.
the armor,
right?
Yeah.
So it's like a cool look. It makes him look kind of more more like Michael Myers, the Shape,
Yes,
you know, and just the way he was just wrecking through everyone. That's the thing that because Boba was always just a cool looking character.
Right. But you never got any kind of personality
No,
from
you
him
never got.
at
I mean,
all.
obviously there was comics, there was books that down the road kind of came about, but in terms of in terms of just like motion, like when we're talking about like Clone Wars or like anything like animated or live action, we really didn't get anything from him.
Right.
He was just like this cool guy who looked cool. He could fly around, and he was like one of Vader's like henchmen, so to speak. So it was just like he was just such a cool, interesting character, and there was a lot of mystery behind him. But we finally actually got to see why, like when Vader needs something, and he wrangles up all these troops, we know why Boba was like kind of like almost in a way like up front and center,
right?
And why he was like right there by his side in Clown City.
He was the guy.
He was almost the guy, and you know when he's like no disintegration, like pointing at him.
There will be a substantial reward for the one who finds the Millennium Falcon. You are free to use any methods necessary, but I want them alive. No disintegrations.
As you wish.
We now know that Mandalorians have the because remember Mando's like disintegrating the fucking Jawas.
Yes.
His like gun is like
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Maybe that was like a callback to that, of like how maybe these Mandalorians have these weapons that can literally just like disintegrate people.
Right.
So, but yeah, to see him finally in action, just wrecking the stormtroopers. I love how it was shot. There were moments that it was like sped up a little bit to kind of make it look more brutal, like look like the attacks more brutal.
Right, because Temuera Morrison, he's a little bit older, so you don't know how well he can move. But from what we saw, like before he's actually in the armor, he looks like he's fucking wrecking shop.
Yeah,
and it looks like it's actually him. Like,
it is him. That's what I'm saying. Like it's definitely him, like doing a lot of the work. But you can tell that it was like a little edited just to make it look
move a little quicker, a little more fluid.
But I thought it was really well done. But that was like my big thing, just how like brutal they made them. Just literally like breaking the stormtroopers, like grabbing one, like choke slamming them. Then when he comes into frame with his obviously the way he utilizes armor, because obviously that was different from like what Cobb was doing, but the way he has like fucking like knee rockets.
He's got like knee missiles,
like knee missiles, and then he's like doing the quick everything. And then what you said about like Robert Rodriguez's films, when we see like Fennec do like the jump and turn, shoot, we're like, like
so
it's Desperado.
Good.
We're like right there. We were like, okay, it's Robert Rodriguez.
It's Robert Rodriguez.
That's like the like mariachi shot.
Yes.
Of jumping like and then shooting as you're falling behind you.
We also get where she kind of kicks the boulder over and starts tumbling. It feels like it's a callback to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, so it was like nice little homages there. And if you watch because I wanted to go back and find the moment in Desperado when he does that.
Yeah.
When he shoots shoots as he's falling back.
Oh, there it is.
But the opening fight scene. There were so many moments in that were literally pulled from. There's a moment in the because I haven't seen the movie in a while.
Yeah.
Even though I watched that movie like religiously growing up.
Right.
There's a moment where like in the opening fight scene he like literally bends over, like kind of squats over, puts the gun in the dude's stomach and like shoots it and sends him flying.
Oh, that's amazing because that happens
That's
here.
literally exactly what happens here. And then there's moments where he's like walking and he's like quickly shooting with like a no-look shot.
Yeah.
So literally Robert Rodriguez, he literally pulled like shot for shot moments from like the mariachi films and put it in here.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, it was just such like the whole action in general was so well done. And like we were talking about the practicality. This Chris told me how he felt like he had a bit of a B movie vibe to it, and I think that's because of his like practical like of his style approach, so to speak.
And I would also say too that you were asking whether or not this was shot like on location or not. It's very much that this could have been on Troublemaker Studios. It could have been on like that like on Rodriguez's set, which would have been amazing if they
awesome.
if they actually did that, because like it
would have been
does
awesome.
because especially like I noticed it when the stormtroopers are running up the hill, or when Fennec is running across like the rocks, you get like really nice like drone shots, and it's like this. There's no way this can be in the volume. It just didn't feel like it. If it, like you said, if it is in the volume, then fucking hats off to the volume, because that's amazing.
Yeah, they're just literally continuing to like push the boundary. That's like unfortunate. Like we always talk about practicality, but whenever it comes to like pushing the boundaries in cinema, I feel like everything it's all like what Cameron's doing.
Yeah.
Like unfortunately, it's all like VFX.
Yes.
Before just kind of like what it kind of has reverted back down to. But yeah, even in continuing watching Desperado, there were moments where like they're shooting and you see like the sparkles.
Yes.
Which was literally like again in here too.
Right.
So like I imagine he brought a lot of his approach. There's a part where Fennec is like behind this rock and you see like all the blaster fire coming in. You see like all the sparkles. You see like the smoke.
Yep.
Like there was definitely a smoke machine back there, and there were definitely like sparkles going off, and they were just CGing in the fucking blast fire. So I loved how it was done. It did. I agree. Have a bit of that kind of sort of like B-movie vibe, but like I said, I think that's credit to the director's approach, and it also kind of harnesses back to the trilogy. Yeah. Like the OG trilogy.
Right. I think doing things not as clean, or as there's always like it's. I know you don't like this word gritty, but it has a little bit of that grit and a little bit of that indie movie flair to it, and like a little bit of that low budget flair to it.
Right, exactly.
That's
and
really nice.
I thought it was like a nice touchback, and I enjoyed all of it.
Yeah, I definitely did too, and I kind of just want to reiterate the whole thing with Boba Fett, because I feel like if you're a Boba Fett fan, this episode was basically the equivalent of Darth Vader in the hallway in Rogue One. Like, because this is like that moment where you really get to see Boba on display. You've never seen him like this before. You've never seen him move like this before. And it's just like in all of his glory. And I think it felt like a nice victory lap for Boba Fett fans to see him, now fully realized in this show.
Right.
So it was really cool, to see all that.
Although, Nick, that was Vader in his prime. This is like,
Whatever.
This is him, Boba way down the road. This retired Boba.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would say we also haven't really talked about, so with Grogu being up on that seeing stone, obviously there's a lot of like, and this is like where it was a little like funky for me, because obviously like they have Mando take off his jetpack, right? Then when the Empire comes down, for no reason. Then when the Empire comes down, Boba and Fennec kind of run off to kind of face them head on as Mando takes up off the fucking hill, and it's like, bro, just grab the fucking jetpack and put it back on. Like, it makes no sense to me.
Twice.
Twice, yeah. And then obviously, Mando can't get to Grogu, even though he keeps fucking trying like over and over again. It's like, bro, you're not going to get to him. Stop trying. He tries 3 times, and it's like, dude, like this is getting repetitive now. You know what I mean? And it just felt like a weird way to kind of get rid of Mando so that Fennec and Boba can kind of do their thing. And
right.
It just
that's as I'm saying. It all felt like exposition.
It's like the setup wasn't as solid as you want. It was a little sloppy.
Right, and that's all. Like we said, like it's a little kind of like exposition, like a little on the nose, and the fact that it's just so fucking fast, you don't have moment to breathe and maybe kind of like have the again, like we said, kind of have those like slow sort of intimate moments, like where he's like, what if like Mando. I'm just spitballing, but what if he kind of stops, looks around, figures out something like, oh, how can I make this work? Then try to break it, and then fail, and then maybe try one more time, be like, all right, fine, I can't fucking do this, like, But then obviously again, the jetpack is like it's just like was it MacGuffin? I don't say it's not a MacGuffin. No,
it's definitely not a MacGuffin. I know what kind of term you're looking for, and I also can't think of it either. But it is almost kind of like your.
Like a plot device.
It's like a plot device that makes things very easy for the character to, do certain things to where you're just like, well, why doesn't he just use the jetpack? So it's like you need a reason for him not to have it. And I feel like they could have come up with something better to get rid of the jetpack than what they did.
Or for like the storytelling. Just so you can have like, oh, how can we get Mando out of the situation? Oh, like we got to make him run a fucking mile.
Which is also to me like where I think this episode could have benefited from being longer, because like it feels like they really just rushed through this episode to get to the next one. You know what I mean? Like it's like, all right, this is obviously this is a Boba Fett episode to reintroduce him back into Star Wars, but it's like we're rushing through certain things that just make it feel sloppy in order for us to get to the next point.
Right, and we're not saying like an hour, but if you had like maybe like 10 more minutes scattered throughout,
right?
Like an extra couple
just to help it breathe a little more.
Right, here, next like look, bro, I'm sensitive. You gotta take your time with me. You gotta whisper sweet things into my ear. You can't rush it. Okay, I want to enjoy the moment. But yeah, I totally agree. That was like, because I didn't see the time. Because remember I was like working. And you're like,
I did, and I was like, bro, you want to watch Mando?
I was like,
don't go back to work. Do I watch it? Don't go back to work. Fuck work. I'm gonna watch.
Yeah, and then I sat down, and then we'll get into the third act, but yeah, the second was over. I was like, what the fuck?
Right,
like,
right.
It was literally like 20. Like the episode itself was like less than 30 minutes.
Yes,
it was like 27 or something like that. But yeah, I guess let's get into the third act.
All right, yeah. We'll definitely get into the third act. All right, so after Boba kind of dispatches all the stormtroopers and then he knocks out both their cruisers, they're kind of like sitting there almost like ready to, kind of have a bit of a victory. And then all of a sudden, this fucking laser beam of death comes out of the sky and blows up the Razor Crest. And it's the worst.
And I think that's the tragedy.
That's the tragedy, bro.
Yeah.
It's the worst feeling.
Like Bernie Mac said.
It's a mystical bond between man and machine.
The guys in their cars, especially, it's almost like a cowboy watching his horse get shot down.
Yes,
really
exactly.
What it was.
Yeah, and we were just like, dude, you just got it repaired.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like vehicles in a way in Star Wars, especially when done right, become a character themselves.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine watching the fucking Millennium Falcon get shot down.
I know, dude. Yeah.
But yeah, the second my stomach just dropped.
Oh, no.
I was like, no, the Razor Crest.
Yeah, dude, it was awful.
It was brutal. And remember in episode 3 when he goes to get the thing, this is what I'm talking about in regards to like intimate like slow moments. Like when Mando, when he goes to grab the in episode 3 of season 1 and the ball's gone.
Yes.
And then we kind of zoom on his face and we hold.
Yeah.
And we hold. And we hold. And we in that moment we understand everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They do that a little bit here.
They do.
But then they quickly kill it by Fennec being like, "Oh, go get your ship." And then again, it's just like, bro, he just
lost his ship.
Relax.
Like, we need to marinate this a little bit here.
Let me sink in. Like, let me enjoy this moment.
Right.
And yeah, that's another kind of like unfortunate situation when it's being like when it's being rushed.
Right.
But yeah, and then the Iron Men, fucking stormtroopers come down.
So here's where we get into it. So obviously, once the ship blows up, then they kind of look up, and I forget if it's Boba or if it's Mando that looks up to use like the almost predator vision kind of thing and notices the ship in the sky. I think it's Mando. He looks up and you see the outline of a ship, and then obviously it's revealed that it is Moff Gideon's ship. So then he deploys the Dark Troopers. So we finally get to see the Dark Troopers, and I guess it's kind of revealed that they're not because I think we assumed when we first saw them that they were going to be like Force users in armor.
Well,
it's actually
wrong.
like robotic. Yeah, it's robots.
I thought it was dark. I thought it was clones that were like Force users with the dark side of the Force. But obviously we didn't do our research. But yeah, they're not. They're actually droids.
Yes.
They're battle droids.
Right. They're basically souped up battle droids.
Like advanced, battle droids. Very Iron Man-esque.
Yes.
Again, having them kind of come down from the ship in this background, this lighting. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was fucking awesome.
Obviously, they come down, and it was one of those moments too where, and we basically knew what was going to happen because the episode totally projects this happening when, Mando's looking at Grogu still in the Force thing, and he goes, all right, I'm gonna keep protecting you, and then as soon as he like leaves, then Grogu finishes with the whole Force thing. It's like, of course. So not protected. They come down. They basically kidnap him, take him back up to the ship. The Slave One kind of follows in pursuit and then notices that, notices this Imperial cruiser. And then, Boba's on the ship and proclaims like, they're back. The Empire's back. They've returned. So Mando, Fennec, and Boba then go all the way back to Navarro, where Mando, basically goes to Cara Dune and is like, I'm looking for...
Imperial Dune. I mean, Marshall Dune.
Marshall Dune, yes.
Marshal of the Republic.
Marshal of the Republic,
Got a little promotion.
So he basically asks her to locate this prisoner, and it's revealed to be Bill Burr's character all the way back from Chapter 6. Mm-hmm. And then he... You kind of basically get that Mando's gonna recruit the troops.
Yeah, he's getting he's Regina Georging this bitch. Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
Right.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
But yeah, and then obviously, do you want to talk about what happens?
Yeah. So we'll talk about the ending. So we're on Gideon's ship, and then we find that Grogu's playing ping pong with a couple of stormtroopers.
Oh yeah,
which is absolutely hysterical. But Moff Gideon's watching him, and he's got like this fucking shit-eating grin on his face. And
he's like,
yes.
It's like
he's
some Palpatine and Vader shit.
Yes.
More power.
So then he kind of taunts Grogu with the dark saber, which was pretty sick. It was so cool.
And Giancarlo Stanton, bro.
He's
just the fucking best.
He fits in so well with this
like you
role.
put in any evil role, just the guy, like his charisma and his charm is just so good.
Yep.
And yeah, I thought it was I love just seeing him kind of like when he's like no.
Have you ever seen one of these? From years past. You're not ready to play with such things.
Like kind of like teasing him.
Yeah.
And then Grogu's breathing. Oh my god.
Oh, that was the worst, dude.
That
when he's done like when he really uses the Force, and obviously like you could really see how he is advancing with his Force powers. Because this is he's come a long way from.
He was already Force choking because he Force chokes Cara Dune like
right.
that.
But I mean, if you notice in season 1 when he lifts up the Mudhorn, you know, obviously he's fucking spent after that.
Yeah.
You know, in this he's using
trying.
the Force to fuck around with these stormtroopers, but you know, obviously it's still too much for him. So when he's done, he's just like this.
Yeah, like heavy, like air breathing,
God.
and it's just like it kills me. But to get back into it, well, we already talked about the Razor Crest getting blown up.
But I did want to talk about that though. How you said how he does find the ball in the dirt, and then he also picks up the spear, which is the only thing that really survived. And it's basically just setting up that he is going to use this spear again. Like I'm convinced that he's using the spear against.
And I'm convinced that he's going to remove his helmet.
I think so too.
I think we're going to get some sort of like some Game of Thrones thing with him, like seeing his face wielding the spear.
Yep.
It's gonna be a nice little homage to Game of Thrones. I don't know if we're gonna see him jumping around and spinning.
Yeah.
That's not really in his character. But but I definitely think he's going to remove his helmet, or like maybe the helmet's gonna get it's gonna like get damaged where it like alters his vision, so then he has to remove it.
He has to remove it,
because he has to get little Grogu.
Yes.
But yeah. We talked. The stormtroopers the dark troopers come down. They take Grogu, and this was a moment where I wanted, just me personally, I wanted a bigger reaction from Mando, of seeing like, I can remember in The Force Awakens when like Kylo's taking Rey, and we get the shot like kind of like track shot of like Finn running.
Yes.
He's like no. I wanted just a little bit more, something more from like Mando, just kind of seeing, just to kind of show
that he has more of an emotional attachment to Grogu.
Because we know their emotional attachment. I would have liked to see just have like a bigger reaction from him, but instead we get this like no, call him off. And he's like, okay, I'll do a loose follow.
Yeah.
Which was like weird. Yeah. Like why? I don't know. It's just that again.
That exchange too was also strange too, because he's like, I'm in pursuit. I have a lock.
He's like, no, call him off. I don't want to hurt the child. He's like, okay, I'll do a loose follow. Like, it was weird. And again, it's only so we can set it up for the back.
Yes, they're back. Yes, the
Empire's back. And then like we already talked about like him going through the wreckage. Obviously, he finds the ball. You know that we're gonna get that moment where he gives him back the ball and it's gonna tear us apart.
I know. Yeah.
And here's where I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, because we talked about how he comes in hot and heavy. He's like, I'm gonna kill the kid if you don't give me the armor. And now he gets the armor, but now he's like, no, we're gonna protect the kid.
Right.
And I'm just like, what?
Like, what's your deal, man?
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, and it doesn't really go with what we just saw, like literally like 10 minutes ago, because the fucking show was so short. And it's strange, but I'm gonna let it play out because I think Boba's up to some shit.
Right.
I think Boba low-key kind of wants the child for whatever reason I don't know. But we do get that moment where Boba says like, until the kid is in your like hands, we're gonna help you out. And then we get a reaction from Fennec.
Yeah,
like,
I noticed that too. Like her face.
Yeah, so she was like,
is like a little like.
Yeah, so I think something's going on, and I hope so because look, obviously, like we'll see how everything plays out. It could be done really well, but when you think about when we first saw Fennec, like you told me before, that was like in episode 5, so they were playing a long game.
Yes.
So I'm gonna do that now. I'm just gonna kind of like. Okay, it was weird, it was strange, but I'm going to see how it plays out because I think Boba's definitely up to some shit. I think he's definitely scheming. I think he low-key wants a child for what? I don't know.
Well, that's my thing because it's obviously they make mention and they do reiterate, like Fennec says, that the bounty on the child has...
Oh,
has
I'm
really,
glad you brought that up.
Yeah, has
because
really,
I've been saying that like every single recap.
Right, where's they make no mention of this bounty. So I'm glad that she actually says it, that the bounty has gone up significantly and that you could buy 10 Mandalorian armors with what the bounty's paying. So it's like, all right, so Boba has always been a selfish character. He's obviously in it for himself. He has no allegiance to anybody, and he even says that here.
Mm-hmm.
So
and he even lies about his dad's backstory.
He lies about his backstory.
Well, he doesn't lie, but he
changes it a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of like what's the term? Loose truth.
Loose truth. Yes.
That's it, right?
Yeah, loose truths.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's definitely weird. Obviously, we do not get much, and I am saying that, like, what the show does is the show plays the long game. It doesn't give you a whole lot of information from episode to episode, and like things are revealed down the line. You don't get everything right away. So I'm gonna wait. Bill Burr.
We got him in episode 6.
Episode
now we're gonna
6
get him
now, so he has some sort of he's got a bigger part of the story.
Later, right.
10 episodes later, he's coming back. So I do like that, and obviously the show, like the Favreau and Filoni, like they have these mapped out, so they know from beginning to end where it's going and how things fit in. Obviously, there are moments where
where's Thrawn coming?
I know, right? But there are moments where it does feel rushed, and it could be attributed to that, where it's like Star Wars still is predominantly for kids, so it's like there's certain things where it's like we're not going to go so exposition heavy and explain things. We're just going to kind of give the basic outline plot points and just move from A to B to C.
Which would give more weight to that.
Which would give more weight to that. So
kids are stupid.
So, but yeah, and that's also why too, because like kids are stupid.
Yeah, he's a kid. Kids are stupid.
But like but it's in those moments though where I think it hurts the show, because you need those moments to have a greater emotional impact. Like when like that moment when Boba says like they're back at the Empire, like I wanted that to hit harder.
But we just got slapped with it.
We just got slapped with it, and it's like that should be like oh my god, but it's not. It's just we just fly through it,
and we already know that the Empire's back, like,
right?
In a way,
right? But they don't.
Right, but hearing Boba say it, it's cool, and then like having. And then again, in the way the Fennec reacts, like, but what are we talking about? Like, we're under the New Republic. It's like it's not a spy stream. I'm seeing it with my own 2 eyes.
Right,
It's like but yeah, those were kind of like some issues that I had with it. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that back up, because obviously, like we said, the bounty's going up. We kept talking over and over again, at least me personally, just kind of kept talking about how like no one really cares about the child.
Yes.
Every single time fucking Mando got attacked,
it was always for his armor.
Yeah, it was always for the best part. So now we kind of do know that there is words out there. There is some whispers and rumbling of like people looking for this kid and how much he's worth. Obviously, the people that Mando has come across just luckily didn't hear it. Yeah. So they don't know. But yeah, it doesn't really make sense if Boba's after the bounty, it doesn't make sense to take the kid and only to give it back for the bounty.
Right, because like that's like the bounty's from the Empire.
Right.
So it's
then why are you taking it?
Yeah. So like it's very
unless
strange.
You're gonna sell it to like a market, be like here, you know what he's worth. But even that in itself is a little strange.
Right. Which is why like I'm like that's why like I'm doubling down on it. Like I'm we can speculate like what's actually happening, what's going on, but I'm just gonna wait and see. I'm just gonna wait and see how it plays out. We have 2 more episodes left. They're ramping up to be really crazy episodes. Obviously, we do know that Rick Famuyiwa is going to direct the next one, and then Favreau's handling the finale.
Well, we're assuming because Bill Burr.
It's confirmed though.
Why do you spoil it for me, bro? I don't know that.
But you should know. You should know.
I don't know.
This should not hinder your experience at all. Knowing who directed.
Yeah,
what.
but I like the surprise. Like I like thinking who's directing, and then getting the.
I think you would know, and like I am excited for the next one too, because Famuyiwa did some of my favorite episodes from season 1. I love the second episode that he did with the Mudhorn, and then I love the whole the heist jailbreak kind of thing with chapter 6, which it looks like we're doing kind of a very similar thing here, because I'm assuming they're going to break Mayfield out.
And that in its own way was kind of like a filler episode, but we're seeing the payoff.
Right.
So that's good to see. One more thing I was going to talk about in regards to why Boba probably wants a kid. Obviously, Boba hates Jedis.
Yes.
And there is a chance that maybe he's going to use it to lure some Jedis out and just take them out.
Bro, can you imagine if like Mace Windu shows up?
Surprise, motherfucker.
I'm still convinced that Mace is alive.
I know.
I'm still convinced that Mace Windu is 100% alive. But yeah, something else too that makes me wonder is like, why didn't he take it back from Cobb Vanth? Because he's a badass. Like I definitely think like Boba could have gone toe to toe, especially with Fennec backing him up.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I can think of is that obviously. Yeah,
you think those townspeople are not going to put up a fight?
No, they're not going to put up a fight. And like my first thought was like, well, Tatooine's obviously a fucking planet, so Boba's not going to exactly know where it is. He just knows that it's there because the Jawas had it. But then he says to him like, you got it from Cobb Vanth. So obviously he knew who had it. So I'm like, what's the deal here?
It's like the Batman meme when he's like looking behind the tree. Yeah. Like when they were killing the Krayt Dragon, he's just like looking.
He's just like looking around.
He's just like peeking the whole time. But yeah, that's again another thing that we're just gonna have to wait and see how it all plays out. But yeah, definitely Mando is Obviously, he's gonna need a new ship.
Yeah, he's gonna need a new ship.
Gonna need a new ship, so that's gonna be fun to see like what ship he gets. I don't think he's gonna stay with the slave. I think that is like in its legend that does belong to Mandalorian. I wouldn't hate it if it does kind of trickle down to that.
Right.
And he ends up like
and he ends up taking it over for whatever, however it plays out.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see whatever his new ship's gonna be because, like we said, the Razor Crest has become in a way a character. It's a very strong, like it's part of Mando.
Right.
It's definitely
like
part
I
of
almost
Mando.
hope he gets in the Razor Crest. You know what I mean?
Me too, and it's so cool.
I know, it's fucking awesome.
This is like an old school, like a pre-Empire. So this is almost like you're driving around like a Shelby Mustang, like a '69 Shelby
it's
Mustang.
an absolute classic. You know?
Yeah, so it's like, and now you fucking lost it. It's heartbreaking. But I'm excited to see that, and yeah, just gathering up the troops so we can go take on Moff Gideon. I wonder who else he's gonna. I'm hoping Bo-Katan comes back. I'm with you. I don't think we're gonna get Ahsoka again.
Yeah, I think I was telling you I think we're getting Cobb Vanth again. I think Cobb Vanth is going to come back. I think I'm 50-50 on Bo-Katan coming back. You know, obviously she's after the Darksaber, so you would think that she's going to come back, but I'm not banking on it because I don't want to set myself up for disappointment if she doesn't show back up. You know what I mean?
And if she is after the Darksaber, then you almost think that she's the one that has to go toe to toe with Gideon.
Right.
Gideon is G-Man.
That's Gideon? Gideon is G-Man?
I would say Ahsoka. I don't think we're gonna.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to
she's on her own path. She's doing her own thing, and they're most likely going to get her own miniseries. And I think Boba Fett's going to get his own miniseries too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down.
Yeah.
In regards to like if it takes place before or afterwards, then yeah, either way, it was cool to see him. But yes, we've been saying it. We've been speculating how we feel like these last couple episodes are just going to be crazy.
Yeah.
We in a way got that here, and yeah, shit's about to go down. We're setting ourselves up for like a big action climax.
Yes, I think we're gonna get a nice 1-2 punch with these last 2 episodes. And the other thing I'm excited about is that Famuyiwa's episode is also going to be written by him. So I like that he's, same thing with Dave Filoni, how he got the chance to write his own episode. I like that Rick is writing this one too, because not that I've had a problem with Favreau's writing, but I like that there's other voices in there kind of influencing their own stories.
Right.
You know what
like
I mean?
when,
and I almost wish that some of these directors also had that opportunity to kind of hone in the story. Cause we don't know like what's going on, but it does feel weird, the different times of the episode, because like most series, like the episodes are all the same length.
Yeah.
So the roller coaster.
There's like a 15-minute like range of like where these fucking episodes fall.
And it's just weird.
Wild.
It's very strange that they do that, and sometimes it works, sometimes it hurts it. So it's. I
know next week on Mandalorian. They're definitely they don't care. They're like they got our money.
I know,
they're
exactly.
Fucking suckers.
We're gonna watch no matter what.
Yeah, these suckers are trapped. Like the thirst trap. That was us, and we're all just biting.
Yes. But yeah, looking for a really exciting finish, and honestly, just cannot wait. All right, Nerds Nation, that does it for us. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube page. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else where you can see that big, beautiful FN logo. Check back next Wednesday as we will review Chapter 15, directed by Rick Famuyiwa, which we're really excited about. And anything else you want to say to the nation, Martin?
No. Looking forward to this next episode, and yeah.
We will just leave it at that.
Just leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
I feel like I had so much to say just now.
It's like, are we missing anything?
Yeah, but I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, it was overall it did have a lot of issues with this episode, but it was still a fun one.
Yeah, I would.
And
agree.
something else that we were talking about, Mando has kind of become like an event.
It has.
There's I get it. I'm getting up to the point where the last couple of episodes, or just like this season in general, like I look forward to waking up on that Friday and then going to see Mando.
Yep.
Like I said this past week for this past episode, I was just like I was so ready to watch him. Like I'm not gonna. And the second you teased me, I was like, all right,
we'll go watch.
I guess. Don't twist my arm.
And then this goes back to what we were saying last week too about how Mando has brought Star Wars back.
It has.
It really has brought Star Wars back, and people are excited for Star Wars again.
Yeah, myself included. So we're looking what's gonna happen with little baby Grogu. Oh, I know what I want to talk about.
What do you want to talk about?
The shackles.
Oh, that's right. The
shackles.
The little cute baby shackles that go on Grogu at the end.
Like, those were custom made for him. Like, there's no fucking who else has those fucking small shackles? No one else does. But before that, we see him get stunned.
Yeah.
And we see the cool like
the little ring, the
right.
little stun ring.
I'm trying to remember if we got that in A New Hope. I think we might have. I'm not entirely sure.
But it's mainly a Clone Wars thing, right?
We've seen it in Clone Wars Rebels a ton of times.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to like dig into my brain, and I want to say I think we might have seen it in New Hope. I'm not sure, but to see it again, that was cool.
Yeah.
Just to kind of again seeing these little things translate over, and then obviously the stormtroopers really cool, and I love the color stormtroopers, like the guards and everything. Like we were talking about with the rank. So yeah, a lot to love about this episode, and Grogu force choking.
Yeah.
Which we got a little bit of that in episode 7 when he force chokes Cara Dune.
Yes.
Josh probably wished he would have killed her. But when he force chokes Cara Dune. And so we at that moment we're like, okay, this guy's he's teetering there. He's teetering there. Yeah.
Look, we're really dragging out this ending here, but the one thing that I did want to say is that doing a little bit of research, Grogu being on the Seeing Stone, you cannot activate the Seeing Stone unless you are in command of the light side.
Okay.
So obviously we know Grogu is more on the light side than he is on the dark. I know, right? That's a little nerd research for you guys. But the other thing was when Grogu is kind of playing ping pong with these stormtroopers, the music is very interesting because apparently the music is very similar to Kylo Ren's theme.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome!
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a little shocking to see. But yeah, interested to see how that plays out. The music, obviously, real quick. Boba Fett score.
Oh, awesome!
Awesome!
So good!
Awesome!
Yes.
It was such a fun score, and yeah, like I'm glad you brought up the Seeing Stone because who heard the call?
Who heard the call?
He sent it out.
That's the big
What
question.
if they go back to Tython after everything's said and done, and someone is there waiting? Who is it? I don't know.
That has to be the cliffhanger. That's gotta be the cliffhanger.
But if it is a cliffhanger, it has to be someone significant.
Like I agree. It can't be a
It
random.
can't be like Quinlan Voss.
I know.
It can't be. Like it has to be either Ezra, Mace Windu, or Luke. Those are the only 3 that are literally going to make people lose their mind.
And that are still around.
Well, I mean, I'm convinced Mace Windu is still around.
Well, that's what I mean. Like in the lore of Star Wars, like during this time, there's obviously very few Jedi
and
around.
What if we get the conversation like I was the one who trained him?
Oh my god! Oh my god! So many questions.
He goes full grandpa energy. Oh, hey, little one, I remember training, yeah. And then, all right, wrap it up. Shut it down.
Again,
shut it
down. Thank you guys again for joining us, and we will catch you on the next one.
And now I feel good. I feel good now. All right. I feel good. I was like, there's something I gotta say. I know. I felt it there, but I'm good. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye.